All right, well, we'll get started. Welcome to CNS Connect webinar series. I am Amy Smith, the Certification Programs Coordinator for the ANA. And today I'm joined by Sarah Saffari, who's going to share her expertise on life design, building a business around your life, not a life around your business. If you're a CNS, you can earn 1 CE for today's webinar, and I will share a survey at the end for you to collect that. As a reminder, this is going to be in the professional and structured education category, so it does not need to contain nutrition content. And if you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to put them in the chat or the Q&A, and Sarah and myself will do our best to watch for those. So let's get started. So Sarah is a fitness entrepreneur, a business coach, and a health scientist that has helped over 5,000 professional men and women get their life and health back by executing the novel blueprint created at her first business, the 3-step framework to optimal health and confidence. Following her success across consumer clients, Sarah co-founded CE-Owned in 2019 with a mission to help online coaches grow and scale their business using the framework she used to grow and scale her own. As an international CEO, Sarah travels across countries while managing hundreds of clients and a team of 12 abroad. In her easy to understand and compassionate style, she uses neuroscience principles to remove mental barriers and increase business results for her students and clients. Her techniques can be applied to any individual of any background in any location, and she is ready to share her expertise with us today. So thank you for joining us, Sarah.
Thank you for having me. Andy said that he can't hear us, so I just want to make sure, guys, if you can hear us, just comment yes in the chat box. Okay, you can now. Okay. Awesome,
Okay,
man.
great.
Can anyone else hear us? I think we're good.
Okay, excellent.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Awesome, guys. We're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna share a screen with you guys. We'll go through everything together. I like this to be way more interactive than me talking at you. I honestly hate that, zone out myself. So way prefer us to kind of like chat back and forth. Before we do that though, I just want to get a good idea of where everyone is at. So if you currently have your own business, can you just comment business in the chat box? So if you're taking on your own clients, whether you're doing that independently, freelancing, whatever, just comment business. Okay, we got Nina, Stephanie, Andy, Mary. Okay, you guys got your own business. All right. Okay, so if you're currently working for somebody else, comment work. Or if you're not working yet and you're like transitioning, wanting to have your own business, let me know of that as well. Let's see. Andy says that too, I know in business. Okay, so Andy's doing hybrid. You're doing a little bit of both. Andy, are you trying to go 100% on your own, or you like the kind of half working with somebody and then half kind of having your own business? Or are you trying to grow your clientele? You can also go off mute if you want to chat. Grow. Okay, perfect. All right, guys. So I don't know if you guys have seen some of the other webinars. We have the replays for them. It might be good to catch up on some of those just because it sets the precedence for some of the stuff we're about to talk about today as well. So important if you can just go back and take a look at those. But today what we're going to focus on is doing exactly this. And let me go ahead and share a screen so that you guys get full access. Awesome. Okay, which is building a business around your life, not a life around your business. And the reason why I think this is one of the most important things to talk about is because when we first start off as entrepreneurs, we go from working for someone else to literally wearing all the hats in the business. And we'll talk about that. And sometimes we accidentally end up making another job for ourselves in the process of doing all the things that are necessary to make our business successful. Because we realize that now we're not just the nutritionist or the dietitian or the consultant, we're doing all the other things. And so sometimes we fall into the trap of like, damn, I'm doing way more than I even was when I was working for someone else. And so just a quick brief background, like when I first started, I quit my job at a gym, and I had opened a gym on my own for the first time. And I was all of a sudden gone from working a good 7-8 hours in training to now working 12, 14, 15 hours inside of the gym, but I was bringing in a lot of money. And so I had this first time discrepancy between the golden handcuffs where I was bringing in more money than I had ever seen before at the time. And at the same time, I was feeling really miserable and exhausted, completely burnt out in what I was doing. So much so that I got to the point where I didn't even know how to handle it and I shut the whole thing down. In hindsight, would I have done something differently? Of course, but I know now a lot more than I didn't back then. So the biggest thing is, how can we intentionally, and this is good because I assume, and just let me know, guys, in the chat box as well. Are you guys how many of you have been in business for under 1 year, like 100% on your own under 1 year? And then comment 1. And then if you've been in business for 2 years or more, comment 2. One, two. Okay, so we got a combination of 2. Okay, who's been in business for 4 years, at least 4 years? Comment 4. Okay, we got 1s and 2s. All right, we're all babies here, so this is good. This is good. And the reason why this is good is because one of the things that, in order to be able to focus on this, you want to be in that stage where you haven't already done all the things and built all the systems, and now you're trying to go back and fix it. Can you do that? Of course, but it's a little bit easier when you're starting off the get-go with a plan in mind of how to be able to build your business around a lifestyle that you really want to have. Okay. So this is the whole idea. We move from corporate gym, studio, clinic to entrepreneur. And so you went to school to become an expert in your field, and now you're expected to sell, to be able to close in order to get the clients. And you're just the expert, you're the coach, you're the dietitian, you're the expert in that area, right? And so this is kind of the biggest thing that ends up happening. You're transitioning to getting your own clientele. You end up wearing all of the hats. So now you're the copywriter, and you're the salesperson, and you're the nutritionist, and you're the movement and fitness coordinator, and you're the personal development person, and you're the therapist, because they come to you when they're struggling, and maybe they're struggling with nutrition or diet or imbalances or all the things that might be struggling with. Team building, once you start bringing on other people to work with you, right? And so you go from like, I'm wearing this one hat to wearing all these different hats. I want you guys to comment in the chat box 2, if you have done something other than just what you're an expert in your field once you went out on your own as an entrepreneur. So comment 2 in the chat box if you've like worn more than one hat since you've gone on your own as an entrepreneur. We're getting some 2s. Stephanie, Nina, anybody else worn more than one hat as you go out on your own? And if you're not wearing more than one hat as you go on your own, I have no idea how you're getting clients. So even whether it's a referral hat, all that kind of thing, right? So that's something that starts happening. And so this is where the golden handcuff trap happens, where you start working long hours, you're struggling to bring in the right number of clientele, and you're staying in what I call the 3 Bs, which is broke, bitter, and burnt out, right? And sometimes, like in my case, we're not broke, we're just bitter and burnt out, right? So it was the first time, like I said, I was bringing in cash. I was happy with the clients that were coming in, but I didn't have the systems and structures that I wanted to be able to have that business working smoothly. And so that's one of the things that we want to dive into, okay? So what does that even mean, building a business by design, okay? And I'll just tell you guys a really quick story. When I first started out coaching, had no idea how to run the business. I had a degree in health science, and at the time I thought I was going to go do all these other things that I end up doing. And so I knew nothing about business in and of itself. And so I hired coaches. I hired over $50,000 in different coaches. And the problem with that was I was hiring people who could help me in getting to the result in a very specific way. And that was their way. And so their way might have been working 14 hours a day or 16 hours a day, or doing a type of lead generation that I just hated and it wasn't for me and it didn't resonate. But all I was looking at, which is one metric, was the result. Do they have the result that I want? And one thing that I never looked at was, do they also have the lifestyle that I want? Do they have the values that I have? Do they want to spend time, let's say if your value is friends and family, do they do that? Or are they working all the time? Are they behind a screen? Is their client fulfillment, the service that they provide, really high? Is that something I value and I want to provide? Because if I'm going to hire someone to teach me business systems, I want to know that to the degree that they're going to teach me, I'm aligned in values with their stuff, other than them just having the result that I want. That's what I know now that I didn't know then. And I was just looking at the results. So I would hire someone and they would teach me to do it in one particular way. You need to lead generate in this way, or go message 100 people, or do this and that. And at that time, if I didn't want to do that, so at that time I was like, well, I don't want to do X social media strategy. And so I started thinking, well, maybe I'm not meant to be an entrepreneur. I'm not meant to help people in this way. I'm not meant to do this. And so what I didn't know was there's a lot of different ways to skim a cat and get to the same result. And so here, what's important is about finding what's going to work for you, and then being able to navigate a plan backwards based on what works. Okay. So what are those things? You got to ask yourself, what do I want? How much money do I want to make? How many people do I want to help? How much time do I want to spend working? What kind of clients do I want to work with? Do I want to be online or offline? Do I want to be a hybrid of both? Like, you got to know these things and really understand what you want first, because otherwise you're going to be all over the place if you don't have a good idea of that. Just so I get an idea from you guys, how many of you looking at these questions feel like, yeah, I think I'm very clear on what I want? Comment yes if the answer is yes, and just comment no if you're not yet clear. Okay, either way, I'm just trying to get an idea. No, we got a couple no's. If it's a yes, comment yes in the chat box, guys. I'm gonna wait. If it's a no, comment no. Nina's a no, Andy's a no, Stacy. Okay. Take a look at those questions. Let me move this chat box. Who feels super strong about knowing where they're at on the spectrum? We got 3 people. Are you guys, is the rest sleeping? Where are you guys at? Okay, so we got a few no's and we got 1 yes from Stacy. So that's really good in the sense that, like, Stacy, you have a good idea of where you're at on this. It'll be really easy to be able to do that. For those of you who don't, and for those of you who didn't comment, will have no idea where you're at. But if the answer is no, like, write these down, screenshot this, watch a replay, whatever, and then come up with the answers. Because until you know the answer to this question, you're going to kind of stay stuck on what the next step is. Because we got to have a good idea of where you're at before we move on to the next step. It's the same thing as market research. So if you don't have your market research in an area, who are you going to market to? So sometimes I'll be working directly with clients and they'll say, you know, it didn't get the attention of anybody when I made this post. And I'm like, well, who's your ideal client? And they're like, well, I have no idea. How old are they? What do they look like? What do they think about at night? What's their biggest pain? What pain points are you speaking to? So same thing here. If you don't know what your path is, you won't know the next step. So super important. So if the goal, and we'll just say what, based on the idea of what most people's goals are that I speak to, if the goal is to hit 6 figures, let's just say working 20 hours or less, and you can switch the goal up for what fits for you, okay? This is going to mean getting 4 $2,000 clients per month, getting 80 $100 clients per month, or getting 5 $1,500 clients about per month. So there's different ways of doing it. And the idea is, do I want to go for the volume model? Or do I want to go for the low volume, high value model? Where if I'm charging $2,000 or $1,500, the value proposition in comparison to what I'm giving is this different. This is the value, this is what I'm charging. What most people do is they overpromise and they underdeliver. Yours is almost to underpromise and overdeliver. And those are the businesses that last and do very well long-term, okay? Now, we're gonna break down the two models. So low ticket versus high ticket. High ticket is always greater than lower ticket when you're first starting out, especially. So when you're first starting out, and I mean in your first 6 figures, multiple 6 figures, and first 7 figures. Okay, so low ticket is just as hard to get clients. It requires a lot of advertising, which is high cost. It requires good brand recognition, and it brings lower quality clients. And I'm going to give you guys a really quick example. So I was working with a client the other day, and one of the things she was saying was like, well, Sarah, you keep talking to me about like providing this incredible service, but like, you know what? I went on Instagram and I bought like so-and-so's program. And honestly, like I bought it for market research, which is very smart to do, by the way. She said, I bought it for market research and like, it sucked. And I was like, well, how much did it cost? And she's like, it was $100. I'm like, well, how many followers does this person have? Oh, they have 3 million. Okay, cool. So this person with 3 million followers who has a very high brand recognition is now just getting away with giving not the best service in the world. Really, that's essentially what's happening. So you need to compare yourself based on where you're at. If you're not at the level where you're at high brand recognition, which most of our clients aren't. If you are, then just ignore this. If you're not at a level where you're at high levels of followings or this kind of stuff where the recognition is really, really high, then how can you provide a really high service that way outdoes those people? So you're not even competing in the same ball court as them, but you're charging that at a more premium price. Okay. So high ticket allows for way less volume. So you don't have to sell 80 clients in 1 month. It allows for higher quality of clients because the people who are willing to pay more are the people who are also going to be paying more attention. And then ability to provide higher service because more capital. You're going to be able to bring in more capital, which means you're going to be able to use better resources. You're going to be able to use better softwares and support systems. And as you start hiring more people, you're going to have the resources to do that. But when the margins are really low, you're not going to be able to do that. It's faster to scale. And you're able to bring in more client results because, again, when someone pays, they're going to pay attention. Okay. Is there any questions on this before we move on? I'm just going to wait 1 second before we move on. Any questions on the high ticket model before we move on? I'm going to stop sharing, just wait for 1 second. Is this making sense, guys? Comment make sense if this is making sense. This is helpful. Just put in the chat box, makes sense if this is making sense. All right, we got Andy, Mary, Stephanie. Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, guys, let's go back. All right, so here's what you want to focus on. Here's where we get stuck a lot, right? You want to have one message, one offer, and one platform when you first start out. Where we start getting overwhelmed is when we start saying, oh my gosh, I need to focus on partners and I need to focus on affiliates and I need to make sure that I'm on TikTok and I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook and I'm on LinkedIn and I'm doing all these different kinds of, I'm building relationships over here and I'm focusing on my referral program. That's a lot, right? One message, one offer, one platform. That in and of itself will get you to 7 figures. And the biggest thing that I see students struggling with is constantly trying to complicate the simplistic, where we can just say, here's what I'm going to focus on. And as long as I just keep repeating the same thing that I know brings results, I'm going to be able to double down on that and bring more results. Instead of getting what we call SOS, shiny object syndrome, I'm going to go after that and I'm going to go after this offer and this offer, right? So those are the biggest things that you want to focus on. All right. So this is where the life design comes in, right? We want to work hard once by building systems, then let those systems work for you. Okay. So a $2,000 offer, for example, requires only 4 clients a month at $100,000 run rate per year. So only 4 clients per month. So you build your lead generation system, you build your coaching, your nutrition, your workout systems, and you build accountability, diagnostics, and follow-up systems. And then you have that, someone run that for you while you oversee it eventually. So just so I can get an idea, does anybody here comment 1 if you're a solopreneur, you're the only person, you work for yourself and that's it? Just so I get an idea where you guys are at. Comment 1 if you're a solopreneur. Okay, everybody, we're all just starting out. Okay, cool. So that means that we're at a level where we're not overwhelmed with clients to start bringing on more clients. We're probably not at revenue level to bring on more clients. So just so I get an idea, are you still by yourself because you haven't been able to generate enough clients yet? So comment leads if you haven't been able to generate enough client yet. If it's another reason, maybe you can type that out as well, or just kind of unmute yourself. Leads. Okay, so we got Nina. So generating clients is one of their issues. Okay. Linda says organization. Linda, are you able to expand on that? Can we take Linda off mute? There you are. Can you hear me?
Hey, sorry. Yes.
You're good. What did you mean by organization?
I have leads, I have clients, but I'm just so disorganized with all of the processes.
Okay, what processes specifically are you being disorganized with? Like systems that people can replicate?
Well, yeah. So I mean, every single one of my clients, I have about 15 to 20 active clients right now, and each one of them needs something different. So I can't rinse and repeat. So I have a lot of the same thing to do over and over again.
It requires manual stuff, so you haven't been able to systemize the coaching section of the things.
Right. So I mean, like, there are things that I know I could do the same, but most of what I do with them is all, very individualized. So
okay, gotcha. So
I'm sorry if I'm not being very clear.
No, you're good. I think I understand what you're saying. You're just saying that they all have completely different profiles, and so you need to cater profiles to them because they have different things that they're all dealing with.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, no, I mean, that's a good level of service. How much are you charging for that?
Well, according to your model, it would be, the 80 clients at $100 a week.
Are you charging $100 a month?
I'm charging $200 a month.
Okay, so that's going to be part of the problem, because here's the thing. What you're doing is actually great. So if you're saying, hey, I have all these different clientele and I have to cater my service to that clientele because they all have different needs, that's perfectly fine. That's just providing really high level of service. But in order for you to be able to keep that up, and you have leads, and now you're stuck because you're like, I got all this other stuff to do because the more clients I take on, the more work it is, and now I'm getting overwhelmed, is you need to make sure that the service level stays high enough where you're able to bring someone on that works with you, and then you can focus on taking calls and lead generating, because you're already bringing in leads right now. So you're in a place where the leads are coming in. You need to start taking calls, and you need to up your program. So you need to create systems, whether it's are you doing month by month?
Yeah.
Okay. And they're just month to month, and that's how they start out, and that's it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So they do like a subscription, and most of them stick around for about 6 to 9 months.
Good. I mean, so your LTV is good. Your lifetime value, LTV is lifetime value. So your lifetime value of your client is good. They're staying 9 months. You can probably get them to stay a little bit longer, but you just got to create systems and up your price. That's what it's going to come down to for you. Sounds like you have a good lead generation system. You're just in a state of overwhelm because you're doing everything so manual that it's not scalable, the model that you have right now.
Exactly.
Does that ring a bell?
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So the biggest thing for you is going to be redoing your offer a bit, and not that this does not mean, guys, this is really important. This does not mean going to all your current clients and saying, by the way, I'm now just going to be charging this much per month, because that's how you lose all your clients. You grandfather in current clients because nobody likes an increase in price to that degree, if you're able. And then any new clients that come in, you're going to have XYZ new offer at Y new price.
Okay.
But never do that with the current clients, because now, and this is one of the things that I said in the last slides, is if you keep charging low, you're going to get stuck in a rut like this, where you're like, well, I can't afford to hire another coach, but I do need to provide this level of high service, and I do need to give them all these things, and they do need specialization, they do need accountability and follow up and support and all that stuff. And if you're having a 9-month LTV, it means that they like what you're doing. You're just undercharging. That's it. I can tell you right now, your clients are happy because they're staying 9 months. That's a long time on a recurring month-to-month basis. So we just need to change the package a little bit, maybe over deliver a little bit more, but up the price. Up the price, over deliver even more. Don't keep the price down. You had the opposite problem of what most people have. That makes sense?
It does. Thank you.
We can chat further as well, but just want to get an idea.
Yeah. Thank you.
You bet. Awesome. All right, guys. All right. Just getting back on track with my thinking as well. So then once you get to that level, then you let people run those systems for you, right? And so in your first several 6 figures, all you need, and this is where I don't want you guys to like start overthinking. Over deliver mean offering more service touch points. Yeah, I'll answer that in just a sec, Stephanie. So in your first 6 figures, several 6 figures, all you need is 1 lead generator and 1 client fulfillment specialist. That's it. You should be taking your own sales calls for a very long time, because it's one of the hardest roles to fill. That's for sure. And you don't need it in your first multiple 6 figures, which it sounds like a lot of us are probably in the first 6. Okay. So first get really good at doing all that stuff yourself in the way that you like. This is what part of the life design part is about. So there's a lot of ways to bring in clients. So it could be through owned media. It could be through referral networks of clients that you already have. It could be through social media. It could be through referrals and affiliates and partnerships. It could be through your email list, which is part of your owned media. Right? So it could be through plain outreach. So you got to find out what works for me the best. This is what we don't ask. We just do what someone says. What works for me the best? What do I see myself doing the best at? Because why would you do something if you hate it? Is it going to last? Like if your client says, you know what, I really, really hate chicken breast. And you're like, I'm so sorry, but that's part of the plan anyway, because it's going to get you results. And they're like, but I hate it. And you're like, but you have to eat it. They're going to be like, damn, and they're going to leave. They don't want to do that. And it's not only are they going to leave, the worst part is they're not going to be successful, because now you're forcing them to do something they hate. And that's what happens a lot of the times when you're getting help on building the business, is you're forced to do something you hate. Maybe you hate outreach and someone says you have to do this much. Maybe you hate social media. Maybe you love social media, but you hate affiliates, whatever it might be. You only need to focus on one platform for your first 6 figures. That's it. You could focus on referrals alone, but it's what are the things that I need to focus on in that area to make sure it grows. So just making sure you know, hey, what is going to be the lead generation platform? And I'm talking about this because a lot of you guys, this is where you're stuck, that I need the most, right? Where is the highest level of support that I need with that? All right, let's look at the combo here. Lead generator, Andy, is just bringing in potential clients. That's it. That's the best. I have no idea what analogy that was, but you're welcome. Awesome. And then we got Stephanie. Does over delivering mean offering more services touch points? So I really like that question because it's a really important one. Because over delivering, it doesn't necessarily mean more services. It means more care and more looking after that client. So for example, you want to make sure touch points is a good point. You want to make sure that you're checking in on them pretty often, right? You're doing a once a week call. You're doing a Zoom face to face, even if it's 30 minutes, 20 minutes, where you're checking in on them, where you're seeing how they're doing mentally, physically, how they're feeling with their new program, how things are progressing along. You're connecting with them on a person to person level. These are things that you don't automate, right? These are things that you eventually hire out, but you don't automate. You're connecting with them on a person to person level. 2 days after your call, you're checking in. Hey, I know we switched your XYZ on the plan. How's that going for you? How's it been? I saw that you did a check-in here and you were working on this. How is that going? Right? So with our clients, they come in, they're constantly getting checked in on. They're getting gifts as soon as they come in. They get 2 brand new books. They get a handwritten card. They get a handwritten card on 6 weeks. They get a birthday card at the end of at their birthday. They get a 10-week card. They get checked in on multiple times a week. They're getting their notes from every call. They're getting the replay to their calls. They're getting support on their lead generation. So whatever their lead generation system is, and they're struggling with it, like they send a message, they're getting help within a couple hours. That's a high level of support. So how can you say, okay, how can I take this and bring this into how I help people? And I'll give you guys another example. Oh, the chicken analogy. I'll give you guys another example. When I did client nutrition, and it's a lot simpler than you think. When I did client nutrition, you know what people loved? So I had 2 options for them. I had flexible and I had strict plans on the nutrition side of things. I can tell you 90% of them picked flexible. And they would come in and flexible, I would connect them with a software that would give them unlimited recipes based on their macro guides and their allergies and what worked and what their goals were. I would connect them with FitPal with their guide of their macros. I would have access to their FitPal so I could see their loggings for what they were eating if they chose that as what they wanted to do, because I always give them a choice on what they preferred. And then I'll go in there and I'd be like, hey, Nancy, I saw that you ate a couple bags of Miss Vicky's. What's going on over there? And she'd be like, oh my God, you saw that? And I'd be like, yeah, I saw that. Like, we're having a rough day or what? And they loved it because it showed care. It showed that I literally went in there and looked through their stuff and I commented and I'm looking over their work and I'm providing that level of accountability. So it's exactly what you said. It's touch points. It's showing care. It's doing the little things that make the biggest differences. It's just giving them an overall feeling of highly supported. And I think a lot of times we focus so much on like the tech side of things and then making this look pretty and having my own app and whatever, and we just need to focus on the human to human connection. Sometimes in the first 5 clients, I'll even recommend, sometimes in the first 5 clients, I'll even recommend to clients, I'll say like, hey, you have this and this client who's local, you should probably just meet up with them once a week, 30 minutes. You're not going to do that at scale, but it's going to really help you in the beginning of building your business, of learning like what gets them ticking, what gets them feel cared for, connected. How can I show that in a way that they receive? It's not just caring, it's showing it in a way that they receive. It's like when you're dating someone and like your physical touch and their acts of service, and you keep trying to give them a hug and they're like, hey, but I feel like you don't love me. What do you mean? I've been hugging you this whole time. And they're like, no, but you didn't make my sandwich. And they want to act of service. I'm being a little silly, but I'm honest in that what I mean is in that how they receive and how you give could be completely different. So making sure that they're receiving that same energy that you're intentionally trying to give. You guys are liking the analogies, huh? Linda says, so how do you keep track of all of this with clients? Super easily. So what we do is we have a platform that we use. We use Asana, and every client has a client profile, and every client gets recordings of their call every single week. They get notes taken on this week's goals and next week's goals. We set very clear goals and expectations. They get any documents that are shared with them. And then at the end of every call, they get access to that Asana file, which shows all very full transparency of all the notes we took for that call, how long the call was, the recorded call, all of the documents that were shared for what they need to work on in their business for next week. And then we have in that same Asana profile for that client, we have check-in 1 of the week, check-in 2 of the week, review of their copy, and having to literally review that every single time. So guess what? A coach comes in. It's this. I'll send it out to you guys. Asana. And so every time a new coach comes in, boom, they're already set. Onboarding process, offboarding process, systems. So now a coach comes in, we train them. They know exactly what they need to start doing. And then all it is on your end is enforcing that. Making sure you're hopping on calls with your coach, that kind of thing. I don't want to dive into that too much because a lot of you guys are solopreneurs right now. We're not quite there. Okay. Awesome. What's HIPAA? All right, let's move on to the next thing. All right. Okay, what you don't need right now, especially after I have a decent idea of where you guys are at, you don't need a salesperson, you don't need an assistant, you don't need to run ads, and you don't need crazy fancy software, right? And one of the reasons you don't need to run ads yet, by the way, a lot of people try to do things like that way too soon, is in order for you to be able to be ROI positive, return on investment positive, you need to be able to have the skills to be able to convert someone from a sales call to a close. If you don't have those skills yet, to be able to take a cold prospect, so someone who potentially is your client, to be able to buy from you throughout that course of the hour, which is a skill in and of itself, then you shouldn't be doing that yet. We do it with organic first, meaning non-paid, until you're so good at that. And then you get to the point of like, clients are coming in. I have my systems built now. I don't need to worry about like individualizing everything at a very low ticket offer, or I'm not bringing in enough leads. The leads are coming in, the systems are built out, the program is built out. It's all at a very high level, in accordance to some of the things that we just talked about of what high level even means. And now you can start running ads, but not yet. Not yet. There's a time and place for everything. You can do all the things, but it's about doing them in the right order. Guys, I'm going to take a quick pause. I feel like I'm talking a lot. Give me a yes if you're following me and this is helpful so far. Let's see. We got some yeses. All right, perfect. All right, guys, let's move on to the next part. So lifetime value, this is something that we were just talking about. If you learn how to provide an incredible service, you will always generate clients from your current clients. Always. And this is what a lot of the times we abandon. So the best way to provide an incredible service, you want to ask yourself this question. Really, really powerful question. If the only way to get new clients was from my current clients referring me to their friends and family, what would I need to do to make them feel inclined, like completely inclined to tell their friends about their experience with my company? What would be the things that I need to do to make that happen? And we're actually going to start brainstorming right this moment. So what are some things you would do? And you guys can take yourself off mute, or you can type it in the chat box. Or maybe what are some current things that you do that you want to talk about that is above and beyond that you think would be good enough that one of your clients would be like, yeah, I want to tell my other clients about this. Or sorry, my other friends about this. Because it's that good. Because they feel that helped. Under promise and over deliver. We're listening, Stacy. Stephanie says connection, support, results. Awesome. Awesome. So what does support look like? You guys are paying attention here. It's good.
If anybody wants to be taken off mute, just raise your hand and I'll take you off mute so you can talk.
Let's go with Steph. Let's take Steph off mute. Oh, we got a raise hand too. You want to take Linda off mute there, Amy?
She is. She should be able to.
She did. I'm sorry. I was just thinking that check in after, 2 days after we just had an appointment and, see how things are going.
Exactly. I think that's a great thing. Another thing that you can do that we're actually going to start rolling out is after every single call that they just get like a client satisfaction email so they don't feel like, because if they're building the relationship with you, maybe you haven't built out the team yet, just send them an email after every week's call. And it just has 5 questions that just like satisfaction. And let them know, hey, by the way, you're just going to get an email after every call just for me to get a gauge on like what you need the most and where we can improve the most. So I can make sure that I'm supporting you in the best way possible, just because everyone likes to be supported a little bit differently. Could you fill that out after the call? Yeah, sounds good. If they don't, just remind them the next day and just send in like hey, how was the call? What did they need more support on? Where do they, on a scale of 1 to 10, how was the call? If it's anything but a 10, there's something that needs to be worked on. Where are they struggling with the most? Where do they need more support for a next call? So you can find out where you can improve. Because they want to give you that feedback, right? And so it's a little bit easier if they can do it, especially at this point where it's like you're directly working with the client. If they can just do that via like a questionnaire coming in their email. You can use something very simple like Typeform or Wufoo or something like that. And I'll put this in for you guys as well. Okay, any other thing before we move on to the next slide? Anybody else? Okay, let's move on. So I'm gonna take this off. All right. Check-ins. Sending gifts and cards like we just talked about. If you're not doing that already, start doing that. So start sending them either a t-shirt or like a shaker cup or like something that's just going to help them along their journey that you're going to be working through them with. You'd be surprised at how nice and helpful that is to just get something like that in the mail. Building systems that actually bring results. So the actual product is going to get them results, obviously, if they do it, but it's easy enough that they can do it, that they don't feel overwhelmed, that they do feel supported. Doing as much DFY as possible. DFY is done for you groceries, done for you workouts, done for you guides, whatever. So they can just click on a button, boom, this pops up. I know what I have to go and buy. How can you make it as simple for them as possible to do the things that are going to bring the result they're looking for? Do as many done for you things as possible. These are things when you guys were asking, like, what can I do to up the service? These are the things. Making getting results stupid simple. High level of accountability and a high level of support. And we've talked about this. I think we make a lot of things complicated. Marketing, we make really complicated. So I had a client today that I was chatting with before I hopped on with you guys. And she had a piece of content that she had posted. And I'm like, I literally needed to rewatch that 5 times to see what you're talking about. But in your head, you're like, hey, but I need to include this and I need to include all of these kinds of things. But when we look at other people's content, we like simplicity. So for a second, just like observe yourself. What are you consuming? Whose service have you taken on that you're like, this is a bad service, this is a good service? Have you done market research? Have you, like one of my clients bought the XYZ person's nutrition program for $100 to see what else is out there on the market? She bought that one program because she was like kind of going back and forth with me on doing high ticket. She bought that one program and she's like, wow, that is low ticket. Now I understand what my program is worth. And it just took her seeing that to be able to see that change of like, this girl doesn't do any check-in. She just gives me a standard this, and that's it. That's the difference. Okay, so doing all of this allows you overall less hours for lead generation staff, less marketing dollars as you go, less rush to get to the next sale because you have recurring already coming in. Recurring is, let's say you have a client, so lifetime value is high. Let's say it's 1 to 2 years, for example. Now you have a recurring coming in from clients that are already there. Double down on what's already there. Get really good at servicing clients. And then focus on bringing in even more leads after you've been able to provide a lot of results, right? So that's one of the biggest things. One more time, guys, if you're with me and this is making sense, I just want you to comment yes below. Just comment yes if this is making sense and you're with me. We're almost at that time, don't worry. Yes, we got some yeses. Awesome, awesome. All right, so let's go back here. All right, here we are, guys. I missed one, I think. All right, so just to recap, the 3 pillars of business where you lead by design is 1, high ticket offer, 2, leveraging the right systems, and 3, focusing on your LTV, the lifetime value of your clientele. Those 3 in and of itself will get you to 6 figures and then past 6 figures. And we broke down what that looks like, okay? And the last thing that I just want to go over is just raising your standards. So the difference in the outcome is dependent on our ability to maximize. At the end of the day, leaders are what transform organizations, and a leader is someone that has higher standard of themselves, not of other people, because that's pretty easy. It's easy for me to expect XYZ of my boyfriend or my friend or my family. That's very easy. It's having a really, really high standard of yourself, because that will reflect in your work, that will reflect in your client delivery, that will reflect in how you help people, all of it, okay? Comparison. We all do this all the time. So it's like the millennial curse at this point. If you compare yourself to anyone else, the only reason that you'll see, because a lot of times we're saying this person has this and this and this more than me, more money than you, more fame than you, more success than you, more successful relationships than you, is because they've turned their shoulds into musts. If something is a must, you're going to get it done. Agree, comment agree if you agree with it. Something is like a must, like I have to do this no matter what, you're going to get it done. Comment yes if you're in agreement on this. %. Awesome, awesome, guys. Yeah, so I think at the end of the day, your must is always going to show up in your daily routines, in your daily rituals. It's going to be the small things you do daily that are going to make the biggest difference in the world. I think people say, you know, like we're looking at the idea of the overnight success. We're trying to become an overnight success for 20 years instead of saying, I'm not going to focus on X time frame as fast as possible. I'm just going to focus on delivering the best service I possibly can within however much period of time, because the results will reap from that in and of itself. More often than not, it's us that set the standard low a really long time ago, or we lost our own standards completely. Okay. And this is a quote that I've always loved. I've had it literally since I was a kid, up on my wall since I was like 14. And it's setting your standards so high that you can't achieve it until you turn into the person who can. And so what is the goal and who do you need to become in order to be able to achieve that level of result? Okay. I think that's the biggest thing. Standards for your body, your client results, your offer, your service, your level of care, your desired life design on your standards. That's when everything will come together. Okay. Was that helpful? I think we got some comments. Let me see. We got some survey. And then, okay, that's a Zoom replay. Awesome. All right, guys. So last little bit here. If you're looking to grow your business online or offline, I think a lot of you guys are looking to grow online. There's two paths to getting there. One is, on your own, trying to figure out all the different ways to do it, how to do the systems, when to do what, at what time, how to grow, when to hire, all that kind of stuff. Or you can do it in a path that by someone who actually has already done it. This is a lot of our clients who've literally started out, a lot of them from zero or just starting out with $2,000 or $4,000, and were able to scale anywhere from $10,000 a month to 15 to 20 to 30. And so if you're in a place where you do want to be able to grow your business, this is an invitation. So I'm going to go ahead and actually grab the link real quick so I can share it with you guys for anyone who's looking to grow their business and would like the link to have a conversation with myself and the team. I'm going to go ahead and put that in here real quick. Just give me 1 sec. All right. And let me know if you guys see it. 1 sec. All right. So it'll just be like a super quick questionnaire, and then you can fill that out, and it'll be a 1 hour time slot to find out where you're at now in the business. It's a little bit harder to do that, not on a one-on-one level, where you want to be, and then how to do the things to be able to grow your business step by step. So if that's helpful, go ahead and book that call. And thank you so much, guys, for being on. I hope that was overall helpful and you were able to see some insights as to the next steps on the biz.
Okay, I put it back in there because I think it was just sent to me. So I think I sent it to everyone now.
Awesome.
So a CE survey in there for the CNSs to get their CE credit. And I put the link to Sarah's next webinar, which is going to be on September 22nd at noon Eastern. And we're going to be talking about authentic selling.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys, for being on. Yeah, we'll be doing that next month. And then, yeah, I accidentally sent that link to, I think, just Amy. So if you want to copy and paste that link, because as soon as we close, it's gonna disappear. So
yeah, and I will also send the link out with the replay probably tomorrow.
Awesome.
So everyone will have that as well. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.